Why do you think the people that hate are so good?
I don't know. What's your reader?
It's actually, no, it's actually. I said it to myself. Folks, we're waiting for Commissioner Pepitone, and you'll see why when he shows up. Maybe we should open the door for him. Is that him? Is that him?
How's it coming up?
Maybe you meant the outside step.
That's what I was thinking,
Yeah.
the outside steps.
The outside step trying to get up.
If he has it.
Oh, yeah.
Great. Oh, I see him. Good. Joe,
I think that's the one that
you leaking out. Leaking out, right? No pain.
We are the weapons one here.
Hey, it's a good job. Listen. Joe, let me know when you're ready. I'll start with that. Good. You guys ready? Ladies? I call this meeting to order for Tuesday, August the 20th, 2019, at approximately 5:34 p.m. City of Millville work session. Roll call.
Mayor Santiago.
Here.
Commissioner Pepitone.
Here.
Vice Mayor Parent.
Here.
Commissioner Udalibus.
Here.
Commissioner Cooper.
Here.
Can we all stand and salute the flag, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. This meeting is being conducted in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975. Was advertised, posted, and made available to the public as required by statute. The municipal clerk is directed to include a statement in the minutes of this meeting. Madam Clerk, are there any review changes to the agenda?
Yes, we have the addition of 3 closed session items to discuss: EMS Services, Adari versus Wendy Mercado, and Millville Plastics.
Thank you. We'll go right into presentations. First presentation is by Joe Henry of Hardenberg Insurance Group. Joe, come on up to the mic right over there. Joe, please. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. As you know, in the past, I'm here annually as a requirement for your safety incentive program with the Atlantic JIF to give a very brief presentation of a safety topic. And this year, we've chosen comorbidities, which I'll get into. The workers' comp is what drives the cost of the JIF, so the emphasis is on now trying to contain those costs. So this is a brief description of those. As always, we'd like to recognize the leaders of your safety program, with Pam serving as your safety coordinator and your claims coordinator, and Regina serving as your fund commissioner. As I mentioned, I am with Hardenberg Insurance Group, serves as your risk manager. Moving forward, you want to flip through page to page if you like. Very briefly, what your safety program looks like. Safety committee meetings meet once a month. You have a very active safety committee with all departments represented. Inspection checklist to make sure there are no hazards within the town. Also, training is available. It's instructor-led and online to remain PIOSH compliant. We do accident investigations to determine how and why those accidents occurred. And wellness programs. The JIF strongly promotes wellness because studies show that healthier employees get hurt less and return to work sooner when injured. The JIF does like to recognize your safety efforts, and in 2018, Millville was awarded $2,650 for your safety efforts. You are on target for that number again. That is a maximum allowable for you. There's also $1,500 granted for a wellness allowance, and also EPL cyber liability of $725 to help you out with cyber issues. Moving on to this year's topic, comorbidity, which I've mentioned. So what is it? It's when more than one disease or condition is present in the same person at the same time. They're often chronic or long-term conditions. Oftentimes these conditions are present through no fault of the individuals, and heredity can play a part in individuals. But awareness and monitoring of these conditions are crucial to a healthy lifestyle, and a workplace wellness program can help and educate and assist employees controlling these types of conditions. On the next page, I've listed some common comorbid conditions which you're probably familiar with. You can take a look at those. I'll just move on from that page. And these comorbidities can impact your workers' comp costs, which I mentioned previously. We've seen an increase in number of injuries. Employees with these conditions are more likely to incur injury. They affect the cost of medical care. Comorbidities can delay surgeries, and also they can affect permanency benefits. Time out of work can affect those awards, and also, as I mentioned previously, claim dollars do affect your assessments with the JIF. Here I just showed an individual falling out of a vehicle, leading up to the next page, which is a case study that we have. Two individuals, one with comorbid conditions, as you can see, employee number 1 versus employee number 2. Both employees suffered a right rotator cuff tear. Employee number 1 has tobacco use and hypertension issues. Surgery is performed at a hospital overnight, and on number 2, the surgery is at a surgical center, which cuts the cost greatly. As a result, employee number 1 had 36 physical therapy visits versus 24 for employee number 2. Unfortunately, employee number 1 had a second surgery because of those comorbid conditions, followed by 18 more physical therapy visits. The bottom line is employee number 1 returned to work with permanent restrictions and was out of work for 20 weeks, and that puts a strain on your current workforce. Employee number 2, without those conditions, was out of work for 8 weeks and returned with no restrictions. On the next page, I've done a workers' comp claim case study and costs involved. As you can see, employee number 1, the wages paid were higher, the medical paid was higher, and the claims petition was filed, and $52,710 was awarded versus $34,635 for employee number 2. Bottom line is the total cost for employee number 1 was $105,243 versus $61,634. So we had a difference of $43,609 less when those comorbid conditions do not exist. The purpose of this is we do see an alarming increase in these types of claims. So as you can see on the next page, we've seen a 123% increase in surgery costs when these conditions exist, 140% increase in litigation costs, 285% increase in lost work days, which again puts a strain on your workforce, and we've seen a 341% increase in the total loss of the claim. So in closing, there are some strategies to combat comorbidities through wellness. As I mentioned, your safety committee is very active in wellness. So if we have early identification through screening such as blood pressure, cholesterol, and glucose, and skin and BMI, which is the body mass index, we can catch those early, and through medication and through exercise and diet, those can be helped. Also seen walking groups, healthy snack grab and goes, just to name a few, healthy weight challenges, and ways of de-stressing. So the emphasis, as I mentioned, is on wellness. It is effective, and it is a way to curtail those costs with workers' comp. That concludes this year's presentation. Any questions? I'd be happy to entertain those for your safety committee.
Great report, Joe. We really appreciate it. Thank
My
you for
pleasure.
the facts.
Thank you.
Our next presentation will be the Cumberland County Improvement Authority concerning the conversion of the Millville National Bank, number 2 North High Street, right on the corner here, into the Millville Municipal Court Facility. I'll turn it over to Commissioner Peppertone. Are we having Jerry Velasquez come up? This is work session. Mr. Velasquez?
Please. Yes, thank you for your presentation.
Sir, can you give us your full name and your position?
Was this supposed to be enclosed or open?
Enclosed.
I thought it was closed as well.
My understanding, it's in closed session, not,
Okay, so, what
Not public.
is this falling under? I didn't, it's a contract negotiation.
I think we
We're in-
have it in
we're in the
closed
midst
session.
of still putting this together.
Okay, didn't get the memo. We can move it to under contract negotiations.
Right, Mike?
If it's supposed to be in a closed session, I didn't get
Your
that.
meeting, sir.
I think we're going to move it to closed session as I
Okay,
thought it was.
that's your call.
Please, I'd like to move to only, and so the public understands, the reason why we're doing this, we're in the process of talking, we're not at a point where we're making commitments, et cetera, so we want to kind of like hash it out among us, and then we'll make a full report to the public prior to commitments being made.
So we all understand, Vice Mayor just showed me our closed session. It's not listed for closed session. It's listed for right now.
But
So we better-
as
we
long
need
as we
to-
pass the resolution and add it to the resolution, it's
Say it again, Jeannie, I'm
as
sorry.
long as we add it to the resolution for closed session, it would be legally allowed to happen in a closed session.
Commissioner, you prefer to have it in closed or in open?
I would at this point rather have it closed because I'm not sure of all the numbers yet, and the purpose
to be
of
authorized
this
by
was to have a discussion among the entire committee. Can I give a little bit of what we're looking to do in the
Sure.
sense of,
I'd hold off. If Mr. Velasquez wants to wait, we'll do it in closed session,
Yeah,
as our city clerk has stated, and then we'll go from there. We apologize.
Just add it to the resolution. That's fine.
Thank you. Our next presentation is by Nextera Energy Resource regarding community solar.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
My name is Craig Both. I'm with NextEra Energy Resources. I left the presentation up on the desk for you. What I'm here today to talk to you about is a community solar project that we're proposing within the city. What's upcoming in terms of next steps is we're planning on submitting a application to the Board of Public Utilities for a community solar project within the city. This is a pilot program released by the Board of Public Utilities. The first year of this pilot program is now. The deadline for applications is in September. What we're asking for kindly from the City of Millville is a letter of support for the project so that we can submit an application. If approved by the Board of Public Utilities, we would then come back to the city and follow the appropriate protocols to get the project through the permitting process and have it be considered through the formal permitting process. But right now, what we're looking to do is just get a preliminary preview of what we're looking to do and get an application into the Board of Public Utilities with your support. So I've put together a presentation just to give you a sense as to who we are. We're NextEra Energy Resources. You can see after the table of contents there, we're the world's largest generator of solar and wind energy. We are a publicly traded company that has 14,000 plus employees. NextEra Energy is a parent company of NextEra Energy Resources, which is who I'm with. We're a deregulated energy services business with over 21,000 megawatts in operation. NextEra Energy also owns Florida Power and Light, which is a utility in Florida, one of the largest U.S. electric utilities in the nation. NextEra Energy provides value, expertise, and certainty in project development. We're a top solar, wind, and storage developer. We do large-scale projects, but also smaller-scale distributed energy, like what we're proposing within the city. We self-finance and operate all of our projects, which provides the benefit of us staying with the project over the long term. We have great New Jersey experience with over 29 operational solar projects and 1 storage project within the state, and have a focus on the future of New Jersey's solar programs going forward with the community solar program specifically. I've included some project experience that I can just skip through, but for your reference, we have some projects that we've done within the state and some community solar projects as well. New Jersey Community Solar, as I had mentioned, was established earlier this year in 2019 by the Board of Public Utilities. It essentially allows utility customers to purchase solar energy produced by a centralized solar project. The energy produced by the solar project will feed right back into the grid directly. The electric utility customers will receive power from the utility and pay their utility bills as they normally would, but would receive a credit from the solar power that they purchased. It's an avenue for folks within different utility territories to purchase solar energy. We like this program because it provides benefits to the community through clean, homegrown, affordable energy. We plan on working with the city to provide benefits directly through taxes. We expect to hire regional construction folks for the projects. We also plan on operating and maintaining with our full-time operations and maintenance folks that we have on staff. We provide community partnerships. We like to build strong partnerships supporting the communities we serve with engagement in educational support and local communities through the project development. NextEra Energy Resources has provided nearly $1 million in community support funding since 2017 for projects just like this. So on the next page, I've included a satellite image of the property, which is outlined in red, as well as a project site boundary outlined in yellow. This is on page 10 of the presentation. It's approximately 15 acres north of the airport and 2.9 megawatts of solar energy. It falls within the Air Park Industry District, within the city's zoning districts. It's also included in an area in need of redevelopment, and on page 12 I've provided a rendering of what the solar project would look like on the property. So as I had mentioned on the onset, what we're looking for here is just to provide an introduction, introduce ourselves, and look to begin the partnership with the city of Millville and the community. And our goal is to submit an application before September 9th with the city's support. And so with that, we kindly ask for the city's support in a letter of some kind so that we can submit it alongside our application. That's the conclusion of my presentation. I thank you so much for your time and welcome any questions.
My suggestion is that you could someone could introduce a motion to authorize the mayor to write such a letter, and I think that would be to support the application before the BPU. I think that would satisfy.
And as a point of clarification, Planning and Zoning Board officials did have the opportunity to meet with NextEra, during which time the explanation of the property that was selected as being the solar site. Could you provide the public and as well as the commission with a description of the property? Is it public property or is it property that you have already sought information from a private owner in terms of purchasing?
Sure. So it's a private landowner's property, which we've reached an agreement to develop the solar project on this property, and if we proceed, would lease the property from this landowner.
Now, in terms of also researching through Planning and Zoning Board, the principal reason or rationale for doing so was in order to find out if the solar energy and the construction of the solar arrays in the location would be an inherently beneficial use that would also qualify under planning and zoning regulations. Is that correct?
If that's my understanding.
And also, in regard to the city's responsibility, would the city, through providing this letter of endorsement to the Board of Public Utilities, in any way assume responsibility for becoming a subscriber to Community Solar through such?
No.
Okay.
But if interested, we'd be happy to talk to you about that.
Now, in terms of if there are any additional questions, I think that the process for the community solar and understanding that this creates access for citizens who may not have the opportunity
That's
to
exactly
have
what-
the solar panels fixed to either a home or to a neighboring property, that they could actually draw from that. I think that that is the key
purpose
to
of it.
this project, is that we're providing the access, and we're expressing to the Board of Public Utilities as a commission that we're interested in seeing a project such as this take place and help to benefit the citizens of Millville.
That was my question. In fact, as I understand it, that this is going to allow the citizens of Millville to buy in, so to speak, to a solar situation that they themselves can't get.
That's exactly right. That's
Perfect.
the design of a community solar project, is to, exactly as the commissioner mentioned, and forgive me for not explaining that.
No,
but to
I think
provide
you
access.
did, but sometimes I need a little bit further clarification.
Absolutely. Yeah, to
And,
provide
I
access.
think it's a great idea.
So can we have a motion?
As per recommendations of our city solicitor, I'll make a motion for there to be either a resolution or an informal motion, as per our city clerk's recommendation,
Second
to
the motion.
disperse a letter of support for NextEra Energy to the Board of Public Utilities.
Second the motion?
Any additional comments?
Yeah, I have a question. I understand we're looking for the letter of support at this time. Just moving forward, what type of investment would the city have to provide dealing with NextEra?
Yes, so the city would not have to invest in the project costs. NextEra would handle the project costs. We would just work with you in terms of, going through the formal processes for, installing a project of this kind within your jurisdiction.
And what are some of the benefits through taxes?
Sure. So there's property tax that can be assessed on the solar project itself. So we'd look to work with the city to determine what that property tax would be.
An increase in revenue on that property.
That's our expectation would be that we would work with you to determine what additional tax we would end up paying based on the installation of the solar project onto the property.
And it would reduce utility costs of people that would be
people,
using
absolutely.
the energy that it produces. It's a win-win.
Any other questions?
So this letter of support is going to allow you to do what?
Go to the BPU.
Apply,
Just go to the
Apply.
VPO?
fill out the
And
application like we've done for so many others.
I need a roll call on the
Yeah, can I have a roll call to support Commissioner Udalova's resolution, or
So it's just going to be a motion.
Motion?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have a motion and a second. I'm just going to do a quick roll
second
call.
by Commissioner Pepitone? Roll
Right.
call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Perrin?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
You have his information?
Do you have a card?
Make sure you share that with our clerk, and then we'll be able to get that
There's
to
the
you.
letter. You said September 9th.
Thank you. You're welcome. All right, we've now reached the public comment on agenda items only. Anyone that would speak on an agenda item, please step up to the mic, state your name and the agenda, and limit your comments to 5 minutes, please. Seeing no one, we'll go into old business.
There is no old business, Mayor.
Discussion of commissioners. Commissioner Cooper,
None at this time, Mayor.
Commissioner Pepitone.
Not at this time, other than to say kudos to Regina and Pam for bringing in $2,600 for the safety work that you guys do. Thank you.
Commissioner Udalvis.
I will reserve my report for the regular meeting. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome. Vice Mayor Parent.
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
And I do not also. New business.
There is no new business, Mayor.
We've now reached the public comment portion of our meeting. Anyone would like to address this commission, please go to the podium, state your name, and address your concerns. And please limit your comments to approximately 5 minutes.
Good evening, Tim Cardy, City of Millville. First off, I'm glad to see that something's finally being done with the EMS major situation in the city. Hopefully that it won't be Inspire anymore, and hopefully we can get a provider that can provide a service that the city deserves. Yes, yes, I saw your little head nod there, Commissioner Parent.
Agree.
Now I want to speak about one of the things on the agenda item, the 25-year abatement for the racetrack. Again, I mentioned my concerns about this,
That's not on the agenda.
but I have public comment, and I should be able to speak on it, even if it's not on the
this
agenda.
Because there's a public comment on the other agenda later. And there's going to be a public hearing too, so.
But I have public comment portion.
On
It
it-
doesn't
on it.
have nothing on there about it being on the agenda, but I should still be able to speak on that, correct?
On agenda items only.
My
on
dis-
this
No,
agenda.
But this is public comment. It's
We'll
not.
be on the public
Correct.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're good.
Tim,
Yeah,
you're
we're
correct.
Good. We're good.
Okay,
Go
I'm
ahead.
just making sure because I got shut down last meeting
Go ahead,
when
Tim.
it was something that.
Tim, go ahead. I don't want you going to your 5 minutes. Thank
Okay.
you.
I'm still in a disagreement. I don't care if it's 30 years or 25. They're a business. They're in phase 4 developments, which is tax money. They've already had 13 years, 12 years. If they're not a business, they can't succeed. No more tax breaks. I'm looking at this. Once this is over, years 16 through 20, they're going to be making $260,000 to the city. That's an $85,000 increase. Their profits are going to probably be more than that. Years 21 through 25, that's $30,000. Right now, our school district isn't receiving anything. If they're paying our full taxes, what their 2018 financial disclosure said, if it's correct, if the numbers aren't configured, our school district would be receiving $202,000. Our city would almost be doubling what we're receiving now, so is the county. We can't keep letting these businesses run us down. You know, and there was a statement Commissioner Pepitone made at the last meeting. They do good for the city. They do a lot for the city. There's a lot of businesses that do good for the city, and you don't see them knocking on doors. 15 years is enough. My taxes go up all the time. You guys raised everybody's taxes 4.5%, right? What do we get out of it? City services. They're not really that great because everybody's short-handed. Right around this city, the city's disgusting, dirty, but yet you got millionaires that are making money off of us. Let them finish out this pilot and be done altogether. It's time for them to pay their fair share just like I do.
Thank you, Mr. Cardy.
Not yet. Not yet.
Good evening. Kirk Hewitt, Millville. Can everybody hear me okay? Up there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Good. Because I'd like to make a request ongoing here at these meetings that you guys try and speak as loud as I try to speak so we can hear you out here. A couple of years we hear all the time. But when I spend money to get audio discs, for whatever reason I might need them for, that's my business, and they're useless because we can't hear anything that you are saying except for a couple commissioners. So I'd like to make that request. Now, as far as Inspira goes, I hope that you all got the emails I sent out today about Inspira. I put a lot of time and effort into Inspire with the last commission. I started with this commission until I was basically told to go away. They are a problem. You know they're a problem. We all know they're a problem. They've been a problem since they came here in the beginning. You know, you're going to talk about a fire truck responding for critical calls. That's a good step. It's a good step. There's another set of eyes there so that Inspire can't say, oh, we always respond. Maybe it's time to use that step and move forward with raising our taxes. I'm willing to pay a tax increase, and I'll bet you everybody else is, to have a safe, reliable, as close to the Millville Rescue Squad that we used to have in case we need them. Bring it in-house like it is in Vineland and like it is in Bridgeton. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hewitt.
Mary wouldn't like that, Kurt. She moved over here so she could get to it. Kurt, unplugged it. I just want you to know, Mary.
Good evening, Don Carty. Can you hear me? Don Carty, City of Millville. I have a couple questions. I really, with a town of what's a population, 28,000, I believe, roughly. I'd like to see more than 2 ambulances in this city. And my second thing is, I have a question. The racetrack, they have 2 years left on the abatement, correct?
Right.
And 5 of you up there have 2 years left in them chairs. I'd like to know what the rush is for the racetrack for the next 2 years. And is the racetrack going to be obligated not to sell? Is this a selling feature that they sell this place in the next 2 years with a 30-year abatement? It'll be hop, skip, and jump. Somebody will be on it. Protect this city. That's why you were elected. You have 2 years. They have 2 years. This isn't a horse race. Let's ride it out. Table this abatement for the next 2 years. Okay? There's no race here for this racetrack except whatever they have in mind. And make sure they're getting their permits on their buildings. I just paid mine for a carport, and it still disgusts me that I had to pay $25 for an occupancy permit on there. And it's an open-air room. Anybody wants to rent it, let me know. That's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you,
You got
Mr.
2
Carty.
years.
Thank
They
you.
got 2 years.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, I close the public comment portion for this meeting. We'll go right into resolutions.
Okay, we have a resolution authorizing a closed session for the following matters. Mally Givens, counselors at law under potential litigation contract negotiations. EMS services under contract negotiations, attorney-client privilege, deliberative process. Adari versus Wendy Mercado under possible settlement agreement, discussion of pending litigation. Millville Plastics under contract negotiations. And CCIA court conversion under contract negotiations.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second the motion.
Any comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes. We'll go now into a closed session. We'll be back, hopefully, quickly.
Sorry, Mary. I'm talking about a hamburger.
No, but I'm
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Excited. Really.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's right.
Great questions.
Yeah. You know what they are? Remind me when I come back in here. Boy, that's. Okay, I'll tell him that. Yeah, we scored for that. I was like,
Jerry, we need you guys. Come on, let's get this going. Come on.
It's coming this way, Regina. That's all I got. Whatever you. That's fine. Sure.
Put it up against this so I can get it on camera.
We can get it on the camera if we move it.
So it needs to be flush with this.
Okay. Go ahead. Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, Gary. It's very good to see you. Yes. How are you doing? It's very good to see you again. Absolutely. Yes.
I'm sorry. I knew it was going to be hot here. Thanks. You should see me with my hat on.
Well,
Yeah.
I know that right now we're waiting for just a resolution to close.
Now, I want to look
Sorry
like
to interrupt you.
Atticus.
I know that you're waiting for resolution.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. It's very good to
Atticus
see you.
Finch.
Take care.
I still need a motion to adjourn the work session.
Madam Clerk, I will make a motion to adjourn the closed session.
Thank you.
Second motion.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.